I don't see myself, Ron. Hey, there we are. Hello out there world. Welcome to a little impromptu town hall that we're doing here to talk about the pretty awesome campaign we've got going for the Few and the Cursed. So very excited. Uh we are sorry guys, we are running a few minutes late, but we are going to try to get you out of here right on time. So we are currently live, I believe, just on YouTube. So I hope you guys are checking us out there. We are officially in the final 48 hours of this Kickstarter. It's been very exciting seeing us break over a third of what we made for the whole last campaign with a much smaller, fun little dual deck collector set. Just really shows you the amount that the community's grown in the last year with us just running the tournaments and trying to iron things out. So we should be doing another town hall soon about all the advertising and everything that's about to hit pretty soon. But I think you guys are going to be pretty impressed with what's coming down the line. With me tonight, co-creator of The Few and the Cursed. You've been seeing him. He's honestly really been managing the bulk of this campaign for us. We've partnered up with Felipe. How's it going, Felipe? Oh, I think we got to. There we go. We're getting the control.
Release the Brazilian hound. How's it going, guys? Thanks so much for having me.
And also with us is, I think, officially LRG's newest full-time employee, Luke Fletcher. You've seen most of his work. He's been our main graphic designer, but also working another job till now. But everybody's starting to come on full-time. So Luke is here with us, and he's going to be helping show some of the previews for what we've got going on. A little later, we're going to tease some new art, show some templates, and do all that fun stuff that we love to do. So what do you expect here tonight? We're going to try to get in and out with you guys, not try to make it a super long 2-hour one. So our goal here is to hit about 30 or 40 minutes reviewing the campaign, talking about stretch goals, giving you some previews. We're definitely going to chat about the Invisible Man card that's been that we've been throwing ideas around that there's a lot of buzz about. So there should be some stuff that makes it worth hanging out and seeing the entire thing. So, but let's jump right in. So Felipe, I think we'll have a little more to say on this than Luke will, but we have had a pretty incredible response for this little dual deck project that we have going on.
Absolutely. The community has been great. They've been energetic, enthusiastic. They've been loud. Every time we shared something, everyone wanted to chime in and, share their feedback, share their opinion. And it's been great just being there in the trenches with the community and making sure honestly, my goal for the entire thing was to make it all the way up to 100K. So we blew past that and we're well into our third phase of stretch goals. So that's super exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. We are over. I think last time we checked it, we were at about 128. I think we've got the ability. Let's summarize the campaign a little bit. I think we can actually show that on the screen now. We have that technology, but we're over 125. Yeah, here we go. I think so. We're up
Yeah.
to that just over 450 backers, 128,000 more
Mm-hmm.
stretch goals. We're going to talk about the stretch goals in a second, but yeah, this has been pretty incredible. So I think what's been really cool about this, like this is only the second in Kickstarter I've ever been involved with. We had a really load everything up front strategy with ours. And one thing I think now, if I were to do it again, that I've watched is that this has been the support wasn't just concentrated on one part of the campaign. The beginning's
Mm-hmm.
always the biggest, but I think you've done a very good job of keeping the excitement and getting more and more waves of people coming in as you've done, I don't know, kind of a brick by brick strategy with how you're doing the add-on. So you've got a lot more experience. Talk to us a little bit about what your strategies are with running a Kickstarter that way.
Yeah, so it's one of the things that every new campaign it's a learning experience. Like coming into this one, again, like we have our expectations, we have our plans, but I always think that like Kickstarters. they always follow a pattern where you have that peak in the beginning and then a peak at the end, and then there's a valley in the middle. You know, that's the period where you have the least amount of people pledging and coming into the campaign. So it's always important to keep things exciting, and there's nothing more exciting to sharing little things, little bricks, like you said. I love that you use the word brick, because we do have something to announce later on as far as bricks go. So I think it's super smart when you don't, and like, if you try to anticipate everything that happens in the campaign, you're just gonna fail. There's no way you can anticipate everything. We're talking about human beings, like making decisions, having feelings about the decisions that we make or not. So doing stretch goals in phases, I think, allows us to pivot when needed, for better or for worse. So if we're not, making all the way to versus 100K as we thought we were going to, we can pivot and try something different. So I guess, and I think this was really key to this campaign, because when we first launched our set of stretch goals, we did plan them out all the way up to 100K, on thinking that after we started out, we made 65K on the first day. So we're like, oh, we can now stretch goes up to 100. I think we're going to get there pretty quickly, especially with the retailers coming in later a little in the campaign. And they pushed us all the way up to 80 something. So then we had to pivot. Instead of, the phase one ends at 100, let's bring it down to 88, so we can lean into phase two. And the same thing happened with phase three, but this time around, because it surpassed our expectations. We thought phase two would take us all the way to the end of the campaign, and then something crazy happened with the Metro Ultra rares. So we needed a whole new batch of stretch goals. So it's been very exciting to come up of cool stuff for Overpower.
And so obviously the metal cards were one of the big ones we talked about, which seems to
Yeah.
be one of the ones I think it's fair to say that people were the most excited about. We did want to address it. A lot of times some of the hand wringing that gets done about certain things. We did in total sell 210 copies of each metal card. That was over 150 unique purchasers. So I know there was a lot of people worried that because we didn't do the limitation, that only a handful of people were going to get them. For the amount that we offered, there isn't that many that were bought up by speculators or people who are trying to
Mm-hmm.
flip them. Most of them were bought by fans who are gonna keep them, maybe got one extra set to sell, or just wanted multiple sets for themselves. So that was also something nice to see.
Yeah, and just to jump in there as well, we were releasing something completely new to the world of Overpower, and we had absolutely no idea how the community would respond. So when we figured out how many of these sets we would make, how we would make them available, we went by our guts. Like, one of the things I pitched you guys, and you guys were super, happy to do it, was like, let's limit the number of sets per backer. And I thought limiting them five per backer was like, man, these are gonna, take a few days to sell out. We honestly thought they were gonna last all the way through the weekend at least, and well into our final week of campaigning. And then the community just showed up, like, it was incredible. Like, as soon as they launched the Meta Ultra Rares, it took less than a minute for the Kickstarter campaign to jump 5K. That's how fast we sold the first 50 sets, under a minute. That was unbelievable. And once they're released, we can't do anything to change or adjust. Like, we just had to see it through, and they ended up selling out in less than 2 hours, which was like mind-boggling. And I understand, like, look, I'm a collector at heart, so I understand the frustration of not getting one of these. I totally get it. And it's been also super successful and super stressful, because I empathize with the people that didn't get them. And
Yeah,
all I can
for
say
sure.
is, we are all learning as we go, you know, and we're all human beings on this side of the table as well. We're doing our best to service the community. And then sometimes, you know, like I love that Batman saying, like, why do we fall? You know, so we can pick up ourselves up again. So I'm sure that, you know, LRG games moving forward with future releases and trying new things, or even doing extra metal cards for other sets. I don't know if that's something LRG will continue doing. I'm sure we all have learned that, like, let's limit a little bit more. Let's try and make things differently. Maybe instead of doing 200, do 250. I don't know what the lesson you guys are going to take, or we are going to take, but definitely we heard the community, and everything that you guys put out in the chats.
Yeah, I can't say for sure how metal cards
Yeah,
will make a reappearance. I feel like it'd be pretty, with our knowledge of the printing, it'd be pretty hard to get them into packs. But
yeah,
it was
absolutely.
certainly a hit, and I could certainly see that being like a way you could buy a collector's brick in stores that's just the
Hmm.
metal character cards or something to that effect. So I do not think it'll be the last time you see that based on how fast they sold out and how much people liked them. So
But
that was a
Joe,
good eye opener for us on that.
just between us, if you want to keep them just like this and be the only ones ever in Overpower, I don't have a problem with
That's fair. That's
that.
I still will say one of the biggest things I still get asked about by returning overpower players is if we're ever going to do the big cards, like the placemat
Oh
style cards.
yeah. Oh, you mean
Which is
these big cards right there?
yeah, exactly. I still have my set of them too. Like they were such a
Yeah.
big hit. So again, it's we're trying to be really good about not trying to do too many things at once. I think you'll even
Mhm.
notice this when you get into Skybound. Like Skybound, the rarity model is pretty similar to what the original one was, with unfortunately without the character stacks. But we're already working with our printing partners, and where when we get to the next set, we're going to expand the amount of different foiling we do to have some textured foils and some different effects. So we're already exploring how to create more collectability and more variance within the packs. So, we're really taking the long road of this of like, we've got something we know is going to work. The Skybound set on its own, just the content's amazing. And as each set goes on, we're going to find more and more ways to flesh out the collectability and make it just make it a really fun pack to open every time. So, um, yeah, so that's where we've been with stuff. Why don't so nuts and bolts, Felipe? Let's talk about what did phase 2 have in it that just ended, and what are we looking at for phase 3?
All right. So we again, as we're navigating through the campaign, we've been listening to the feedback of the community and pivoting where the campaign allows us to. So when we were through with the phase one of stretch goals, we realized that the battle decks needed a little bit more of a oomph to them, like a little bit of more exclusivity to them. So phase two brought a whole bevy of foilings and just making stuff inside the battle decks rarer and more exclusive. So we foiled all the character cards in the battle decks. So that's something that I loved that we did. We also foiled ally cards. Like that's something we didn't have before. Foil ally cards. We have teamworks, we have power cards, we definitely have specials and characters. And now we're gonna have also ally cards, you know, and I think it's someone somewhere it will have a full foil that playing deck, I'm sure. So we really pivoted into unlocking like upgrades to the battle deck. We also unlocked two extra characters, which I'm super happy about. So we unlocked Garuva. He's this samurai curse chasing guy walking around with legendary Japanese swords. So you can expect him to be a huge badass. And of course, he's an 8 combat. And I've been hearing a lot of chatter like, oh, great, another 8 combat that can pair up with Leonidas and Zoro. And guys, yes, he's going to be awesome in those decks. And I've seen some of the stuff that's coming out for Skybound as well. You guys are going to have a fun time putting together combat decks.
I
And
really
then
don't expect them based on both the play test and what we've been doing a lot of internal play testing lately with it. Um, that's not a fear I think anyone needs to have. It's not going to be like,
yep,
oh, it's just combat
no,
now, and all they did was add new combat guys. Combat was certainly, I'd say, the most represented in the previous set, but there's so many things that open up the other power types in this. Obviously, the Invincible set on its own, the marquee characters are brute force. So Omni Man and Invincible are both bringing a lot to the
mm-hmm,
table, but there's a lot of brute force characters in that set. Monster Girl, I think, is going to make a huge impact on the game. Mauler twins, they've got some really interesting mechanics. I'm really excited to see where they go. And the same goes for characters like we've got some really interesting intelligence characters. I really think Cecil is going to change the game and the way they mix with the home bases. So I really don't think you're going to see an environment where suddenly it's like, well, here's the
no.
exact same deck, but it's Zorro instead of it's Zorro's the character that went out, and
Uh,
it's I think keep in mind these characters are really only going to be in the meta for a few months before Skybound drops.
I was gonna say, like, to your credit, even though we have the Leo Zoro combo, like the meta shifted throughout the season, right?
Yeah, we didn't
So
see a lot of Zorro in the end
no,
of the
no,
year,
yeah,
so
exactly. So I think that's it's a credit where credit's due. You guys did a fantastic job with the first set, and I think the characters from the Thinkers that are coming out are gonna complement a work well done. So like when people say, "Oh, great, that's what we need, another 8 combat character," give it some time and a chance, because there's a lot of great stuff coming out that's going to really balance the meta even before Skybound gets released.
well, I also think it sort of makes sense that especially when you're doing like a set that's based around pulp and public domain. Storytelling was just a little less fantastical back then. It wasn't as common that like a person could shoot energy or,
Hmm.
so it's not surprising that more of those characters lean toward combat and a little bit intelligence. But yeah, just even a character like Rexplode that's going to be introduced. He's a max 7 energy character that's 17 points. Like you don't even need to know one of his cards to know that was a huge hole in the energy decks is you couldn't get there were no 17-point characters that had a 7 stat in
Hmm.
that power type. So it made it incredibly hard. Whereas in combat, you had your 17.7 stat had reserve utility. And a lot of times
Hmm.
people like to put their they like to put their reserve character as the cheap character. So just by virtue of having that in the set, energy is going to open up way up. So I think you're going to start to see a lot of stuff that's being introduced that's going to balance those other power types out a bit. So,
Yep.
and also, keeping in mind too, just like there's so many, we don't try to make silver bullets. Like we don't say, okay, we're seeing a lot of Wicked Witch, Sun Wukong shifting
Right.
hits and winning battles, so we've got to go against that. But just naturally, there's a sniper character that can like make it hard to shift hits, and there's things that naturally were already designed into the set before the meta
Hmm.
developed that are gonna make it where those decks are a little. There's more counters to them that are just passively in the set. So and that
Hmm.
kind of takes us a little bit into one of the level 3 stretch goals we are talking about here, which
Yep.
is when we get to those, we are going to start talking about these alternative, few in the cursed art themed alternative ERB characters that we're going to throw in.
Yep.
Before we get to that, though, Luke's been nice and patient up here. Luke, our graphic designer. Let's start having some fun and looking at some cards here. How's it going, Luke? Are you unmuted?
Can you guys hear me?
We can. We can.
All right, fantastic. First off, Felipe, I got to say, everything I've seen from this set with you and your group and your artists that have also done a bunch of work for the ERB and the Skybound set is just gorgeous work. It's every time I open up my email, I'm just like blown away. So I'd love to actually ask you some questions about these pieces of art. and some of the artists that you guys work with.
So one thing, actually, I didn't say this when we did the introduction, but one thing that's very cool is there was already a lot of natural crossover because we work really closely with Joe Prado's studio out of Brazil, which had a lot of crossover with artists Felipe already
Mhm.
had a relationship with. So correct me if I'm wrong, but Wilton Santos did art for you, Felipe, for
He
any of
did.
these
He
cards.
did.
If you guys remember, Wilton Santos did our art for the Wicked Witch in the first set. He did art for
Morgan.
all the Mina Harker art, some of
Yeah.
the Morgan Le Fay art. Exactly. He's also got he's got a few pieces in the Skybound set. He did an incredible alternative art duplicate character card.
Ooh.
That's gonna look really, really great. But yeah, I mean, what are some of the other ones that were already working with us? Did Gonzalo do anything with you? Were there?
Yeah, so Genzo did some stuff. Elton Tomasi did some stuff as
Yep.
well. Who else? There were like 4 or 5 guys that jumped over from the ERB. So Wilton Santos, Elton, Genzo. Uh, I don't. Some of the colorists I know came in
Yep. Yep.
from the Joe Prado side. But yeah, like
So
look, Brazil has a lot of talent, and I did open up to artists from all over the world. Actually, like we have some awesome people from South Asia doing our work. A couple of artists that are doing some stuff down in Mexico or up in Mexico since I'm in Brazil right now. So I'm super thrilled to be working with all these people. Like we're talking about almost 40 artists. Like I literally have emails coming in every hour of my day. Over 150 pieces of art are being done for this Fearing Curse expansion set.
that's incredible. Yeah. So it was great because I really felt like, it's tough for Luke and I because we've been the main creative forces for the art. But since we so to give you guys a little insight into the project, this has basically been completely Felipe's art direction. So we were a little more hands-on at first. Once we started to see the pieces that came back, we've pretty much been hands off since then because they're of the quality that we already had in the set. So it was great. And then there's what's going to be really fun, I think, is there's already a few artists you introduced me to through this project
Yep.
that are going to carry over. So Wellington, who did probably my favorite piece so far, which is the redhead looking in the mirror, kind of got some damage, some battle damage. So we're talking with him, and we're actually assigning him his first Top Cow piece this week because
Nice.
we're about 60% through the art creation for that set right now. So that's going to be cool too. That it's just fun watching this grow and forging these relationships. And even this project is going to come out with something that in the
Mhm.
long run hopefully is going to contribute to Overpower as a whole. So
Yep.
yeah. All right. I can talk forever. Luke, why don't you jump back in and we're gonna have if these are all set up, let's jump to the next slide here and I'll let you guys talk a little bit more.
This is one of my favorites. I love this is the caliber of art that we're doing for our common character. It's just like a gorgeous piece of art. He's a really fun, gritty looking Western type character. I love the details with like the wanted poster in the background. I found myself like looking at what he actually had for cards. So, Felipe, can you give us a little bit, kind of the inspiration for the artist on this piece?
Yeah, so one of the things is when I was talking to Rui, and Rui, he's another Brazilian. We've worked together in the past. We did a whole comic book titled Shadow Nation. He's done a lot of stuff with me, so there's a lot of trust between us. We work really well together. And when I pitched him the idea, I was like, listen, we've seen this guy. We're going to see this guy. He's a gunslinger. So we're going to see him guns blazing. So for his character cards, I wanted something different. He's a poker player as well.
Mm.
And you do not want to cross him. He's one of those black and white kind of guys that's like, there's no shades of gray. Either something is right or is wrong. If you cheating poker, he's going to kick your ass. And the thing is, the graphic novel that I worked with Rui, Alistair was one of the main characters, and that's why we already understood the characters. Like instead of doing him guns blazing, let's have him on a poker table. And Rui came up with the idea. I was like, yeah, I'll do him on a poker table, but he's putting his gun on the table to show he's not messing around, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. I love this. It's also one of my favorite artworks as well, and the colorist for it. His name's Cloner. He's not just a colorist; he's like a digital artist. He does his own stuff as well, and he really brought this piece to life. You know, like the little details with the flares there, and the way that he paints, literally paints the details, like the shade on the face. Like it's, I love this. I knew instantly when I saw it that was one of my favorite pieces as
And I
well.
love even just the fact that the wanted poster is a curse, and it is like it's 10 barrels of
Yeah,
water is
yeah,
the bounty. I feel like helps set you in this world.
yeah.
So let's
And
go. I
Joe,
believe the let's click to the next one while we chat about it.
yeah,
So this is same idea as we're doing for the regular set. So we've got the rare characters versions that give you the kind of the full canvas for the artist as well as the regular. So
yeah. And then on this one, so another Brazilian artist, he really wanted to do like an action pose, and I think he played well against the regular character card. So I was like, yeah, if you want to do him guns blazing, let's just do it. I gave him some art direction for the background. I think the first time we see Alistair in the comics in the main series where he meets the redhead, they meet in a old west kind of graveyard. So I wanted that in the piece as well. But this was all Alexander Tso. He's an incredible artist. All the rare variants have been done by either Tso or Felipe Crow. So all Brazilians. You guys are just picking out work from Brazilians. And and Joe, if you don't mind me just taking one quick step back on the stretch goals, because one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we had on phase 3 is extra cards for the bricks. So I wanted to. So if phase 2 of the stretch goals was all about the battle decks, phase 3 is all about extra cards to be added to the brick. And I don't know if we are ready to announce, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. A lot of people have said that they wanted more than one per pledge of the extras we've been unlocking, which include ERB cards, mission sets, the Garuva and Sasika characters that we unlocked. Their foil versions are gonna be in the extra bricks as well, and we're making the stretch goals extras bricks available as add-ons as well. And so people can just go online and they can pick up as many as they want. These are not limited. We're not gonna do the same, run race to get them. So in about 10 seconds, they're going to be available on the Kickstarter right now. And I'd love to see if people are going to grab them while watching the live stream. So let's see if
wait,
we
are
get
you
some more
saying they
pledges
should
in.
go right now?
Yes, it is live. So they can go in on Kickstarter right now and add the bricks to their pledges.
There you
Should
go,
be
guys.
there.
Now make sure you also keep the stream open while you're over there. But
Absolutely. It takes them 2 minutes to go there, add the bricks, and come back, or just wait until the end of the stream anyway. These are not limited. So you have until the end of the Kickstarter to get them. And I think
now
Ron
why don't
can.
we while we're doing this, why don't we have the booth actually pop us over to the website for a second? And I believe we can show you guys a little quick walkthrough of exactly where to go. So this is going to be the page. Where would we go, Felipe, to add these on if I was just
You're going to
logged?
go. Yeah, so if you are already a backer, you're gonna go all the way up to the top of the screen, and there's gonna be a green button that says Manage Your Pledge. You wanna hit that. I'm talking about if people are on their computers. If they're on their phones, I can do the same here. Hold on.
Yeah. So it would be up here where this generic version says back the project. There would be
Even
a button there.
further higher, it's actually right at the top of the page. So obviously you're running the campaign, so you don't have that. But if you at the top of the page, uh, above the title, so above the
Okay.
Overpower TCG Thinkers, there's like a manager pledge, and then you can click on it. It's gonna take you to the next screen. That one, there's a button that says change your pledge. You want to hit that. And then on the third screen, you just confirm your current selection and then press continue, which takes you to the add-ons.
Yep.
Should be pretty intuitive, but I've been helping a lot of backers
It took me a
over.
second the first time I did it.
Yeah,
I didn't realize I had to hit that continue button to be able to
yeah,
add on. So I was a little confused. So go in. It almost feels like you're cashing out a second time, but it'll give you the ability to add it on, and then it will
yeah.
confirm with you.
And
So you
then
know.
I'm checking on my phone. So if you see the screen here, there's a little button right here at the bottom that says manage. You want to click that. Then the next one's going to take you, hold on. So it's going to bring you to the same one that says confirms your pledge. You click on your pledge on your selection, I believe. Oh, sorry, my bad. So you click at the three dots up here.
I got it working now, Felipe.
Oh, there we go.
And then opens up a screen where you can change your payment method or edit your pledge.
So change your pledge right there. Good. We've got it on the display now.
Yeah.
And then you would go to continue, which is the little black button there.
Yep.
And then you would find the extra bricks right here. So you would go
Yep.
into those and add on the amounts that you want.
Yeah, as many as you like. And then on your phone, just make sure you click that three little dots on the top.
And whoever
Hey,
is
look at
running
that.
the booth just
We're
added
already
some
up.
on there for us.
Yep.
Felipe, can you just say out loud again what are in those extra bricks? I just see there's a few questions about it in the chat.
Sure. So right now, get ready, guys. It's a lot of stuff. Basically, everything in the stretch goals that says extra cards means that it goes into the brick. So the brick starts with 10 blank overpower cards that you can get artists to commission you original artwork so they can actually draw you cards. That's something we started doing here at Comic Con Experience when most of the artists were in attendance. And I believe a lot of people went nuts for them. So that's the number one thing. Then we have six home bases, which are going to be reskins of the original ERB home bases. So we're going to have a The Few Inkers variant of my personal favorite, The Land the Time Forgot. Best home base ever. You're going to have a variant for 221 Baker Street. So those are another six extra cards that goes into the brick. So count with me. That's 16 cards just there. 10 blanks, six ERB home bases. We've then started unlocking the alternate art for key characters from ERB. So we're talking Leonidas, Billy the Kid, Wicked Witch, Joan of Arc, Sheriff of Nottingham, and Captain Nemo, his very first foil. So that's another six cards into the brick. That comes up to 22. Let's see. I think that's so far. That's it. And then we go into number stretch goals phase 3, which are gonna add another. Well, let's just spoil. It's gonna add another 10 cards at least, which is 7 mission cards that are gonna be a panoramic forming one single image. So if you take all 7 mission cards and you line them up next to each other, it forms a single image. And this is an awesome idea that one of our Brazilian players had over the weekend because we had a Brazilian skirmish tournament and we were lining up the missions on the table for us to play skirmish. And then one of them was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if they formed a single image? And I was like, yes, it would.
I really love the idea of having a specific skirmish set of mission cards, just because
Yeah.
it doesn't exist anywhere. And
Yeah.
I think from the last few times we've done one of those tournaments, there it's becoming an incredibly popular format. So
It's super fun. It's super fun. And so we have those 7 cards, bringing our total to 29. Then we have 3 more ERB characters getting the Few and Cursed treatment, which is Sherlock Holmes, King Arthur, because Doug Sims really wanted a King Arthur stretch goal. So shout out to Doug Sims, the Heroes in Games. And then Joe, you wanted to have Invisible Man. So if you want to talk about that
yes,
a
let's
little
talk
bit.
about it. So our intention has been, we're not really gonna try to hot fix characters. There's gonna be characters we design that just see less play, and that'll inform our design decisions later. But I think there's a few low hanging pieces of fruit, and one of them is to drop Invisible Man down to 16. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So we are not sure exactly the way we're gonna do this. We're trying to again, we have to think long term. And so the idea for say when we do Skybound 2 is going to be we want to do the blue and black suit Invincible, who's now an 8 brute force. He's had a big power jump. And we want to make sure that Invincible has a subtitle in a unique suite of cards. So we've got to figure out exactly if we release an Invisible Man that is a drop in threat cost. The idea is he's using the old suite of cards. So we just have to figure out internally the best way to do that, which would most likely be an inherent ability, which is a little clunkier because then if cards ever turn off inherent abilities, he can't use his own cards for a bit. But we'll figure out a way to do it the way we always do. So, yeah. So that's what we're talking about right
All
now.
right.
That's another way to switch up the environment a bit.
All right. So as far as stretch goes and bricks go, so we're talking about 32 cards. And then this is a big announcement for this town hall, which is the elusive $150,000 stretch goal. So if we go all the way up to $150,000, we're gonna add something else to the brick. Card number 33. So card number 33 is gonna be a third alternate red hat character card, meaning original art. So we're gonna have 3 artworks for the red hat, and that one's gonna be done in metal. So we hope everyone's excited about it as I am. Getting like, regardless whether you were one of the lucky ones, happy ones that got 10 metal ultra rares, everyone's gonna walk away from this Kickstarter with at least what I think is gonna be one of the coolest red hat metal character cards. So that's our big stretch goal for $150,000.
And we're not that far off from that. The needle's already been moving since we announced this.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's go back because we actually have already gone through about 30 minutes of our 40 before I want to go to Q&A. And we only looked at 2 pieces of art. So let's get some of that art back up here on
All
the
right,
screen.
I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet.
No, it's we're all talking about it. Everybody's excited. So all right, let's move on. So this is the rare version. There we go. So this is the common version. La Rubia, I'm gonna try to say it right. La Rubia de Bano.
Yeah, it's basically I love
Bano,
how every
Bano.
culture. No, I love how every culture has their own Blood Mary. Their own version of Blood Mary.
Bloody Mary, yeah.
I basically mashed up together the Brazilian version with Mexican culture to create something my own called La Rubia del Baño, or in Spanish La Rubia del Baño. Like, so that she's Mexican though, she's not Brazilian. And in Brazil we speak Portuguese, but I figured the redhead would have a hard time making it all the way to Brazil, so she stops in Mexico to kill off this wicked little lady. That's such an awesome character to play with. I can't
Now
wait.
she's also this version's also a bride, right?
She is. So she's a bride that's being left at the altar, and she's now stuck in this decrepit old school that was gonna serve as the place for their wedding. She's stuck there, and she's always thirsty. She's always, longing for liquids. And I say liquids because she doesn't have access to water, so she wants the next best thing, blood. You walk into that school, you're not walking out.
It's interesting too how these different versions of it, because we, in the US we all know Bloody Mary. You say her name 3 times in the bathroom mirror,
Yeah.
she appears. But it also is interesting. Yours combines another urban legend, which is the woman in white, which is
Oh, really?
yeah, so there's an urban legend with kind of supernaturally where it's a woman in a wedding dress, but like travelers see her on the road or something, and she
Interesting.
lures in unfaithful men and kills them. And it's like because
Interesting.
she was jilted as a bride. So it's kind of an interesting combination of those two different lores. So
That's awesome.
so we did get a peek. Now I believe this has been this is Wilton Santos, for example. We were
It
just
is.
talking about. I've seen this one before, but I had not seen the rare until we were prepping for the show. So let's go ahead and go to the rare version of her.
Oof.
This is awesome. Now, this is the same person who did the rare Alistar, right?
Yes, it is, Alexander. This is one of my favorite pieces. Honestly, I just love this one because she's vicious, she's bloodied, but she's still so cute and adorable. So, I don't think there's anybody better at doing like expressive woman faces like so. Like he's done a cover for Top Cow actually for Witchblade that he had the original artwork at Comic Con Experience, and Leticia went nuts for it. Like it's such a beautiful piece of art. So I was stoked to see that he did such a phenomenal job with this piece of art as well.
Very, very cool. And then it looked like we had was it just the 2 characters? It looked like we had some specials.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen this middle piece. Let's talk about that. Who's the artist on that, Felipe?
That one is a guy in Russia called Stan Yuck. And the colors were done by, I want to say, Vinicius Townsend. He's Brazilian. And I loved the piece. Like, I wish we could do like the specials in a way that the text was like AR, so it would pop up so we could see the entire artwork. But yeah, so the idea here is that if the Phantom Express runs you over, your soul is going to be ripped apart and become a passenger in the train forever. So this is what this is.
Mm-hmm. Luke, what do you think?
This is a phenomenal piece of art. My jaw literally dropped when I opened this one up. This piece in the center and the first piece I saw, which was the bride's common character card. That was the first piece that I saw, which like made me kind of stunned. And then this piece, when I opened it today, I was just taken aback. I mean, the art is so rich and deep. The detail in every surface, reflection, bit of beaming light coming off of these characters are just simply gorgeous. I mean, this Curse Chaser card off to the right. I mean, that, the redhead just looks so amazing and badass in this image. And, I've never been freaked out by a menacing looking giant crow character so much in my life. Listen, you guys have pulled together such an amazing group of talent and characters and stories that you guys have developed over the years. It's a really fun and fantastic piece of IP and lore that I cannot wait to see how this changes things and how these characters get used in the future, knowing what sets we have coming, what's already been out. I'm super thrilled and blown away by everything you guys have put together.
And we're getting some comments about the mechanics. I don't think we'd release that one. That's a newer mechanic that we designed for this card. That's one I really liked when we went through the design process. For remainder of game, target character may not play special cards until we'll figure out. These are not the final wordings, everyone. I know everyone gets real worked up about that. These are just the text down and dirty, but essentially, until your opponent concedes the battle, if this hits, the target character may not play specials. So you go for a ride on the train until you run away from it once and get away from it. So still can be avoided, but yeah, very cool one per deck.
Yeah, and then there's also ways that you can avoid it, you can negate it, you can remove it with Jane's card or Van Helsing's card. So there are a lot of ways to work around that card if you're hit with it.
Yeah,
it's just fun. It's a fun card.
All right, let's. Luke, do we have more? Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, so this is, Felipe, you were saying some of this artwork is intended to be used for the any character cards, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. So the left one, that's Princess Amistris. So one of the things I wanted to do with the book Chronicles of the Thinkers was show how different regions in the world were affected by our version of the apocalypse, which basically is we dried up the whole world. We don't get into details about it. So she's in Persia, and she's reading a sacred magic book called the Gathas, and this is the version, the Feeling Curse version for the Draw 3, the Later the Lake. So basically,
cool.
she's reading the book and drawing 3 cards and then discard duplicates. And I just loved the process for this one. This was done by Hector Juan. He's in Mexico. And we had a very cinematic approach, and I just loved working with him because he has a very good eye for lighting. And then when he did the candlelight up front, and the magic coming from the book, I thought, dude, you know what you need here? You also need like some backlight, as if moonlight's coming through like a higher window. I went to film school, so I'm always thinking in terms, like, in film school you learn that whenever you're lighting a shot, you always need 3 sources of lights: a backlight and then 2 lights up top. So I had 2 lights here. I was missing the backlight. And he did it superbly. Like the ray of moonlight coming on her, just gorgeous.
I keep catching the detail of the light reflecting off her chin, shining up from the book.
Yeah.
I immediately get called back to Pulp Fiction when Vincent Vega opens up the briefcase and that golden
shines up
coming out.
Yeah.
Like, I see this stuff and my heart just like takes a beat. It's that glow is just amazing. I love the amount of detail your artists are getting in here from, as you said, multiple levels.
And Hector works so fast. I think he's done so far over 12 pieces already. He's working on the, spoiler alert, he's doing all 4 artworks for the level 7 power cards. And these are gonna be off the hook. Do we have something
I love
to show?
the redhead in the mirror too. The little details like that, the weird kind of I don't know, the growth on the mirror up in the corners has a very, like, it's almost like they're living with the curse stuff around them at all times. Like, just in the way the little weird stuff is growing on that, I think really sells like the environment of it. So
that one's gonna be for the remove the hit. So
for the any character card,
the Fear and Curse version of the Preternatural Healing, or whatever the title is. I forget at the time now.
Oh, that was a comment from one of the chats. Let's go through the rest of the art, and we'll jump in and we'll get this Q&A going. So, all right.
Felipe, this last listen. I love the card on the left, but this card on the right is that is a very stellar piece of art. It reminds me of something that I would have seen as a kid that, got me into graphic design and creative stuff in general. And, that makes my heart just
It feels very Court of Owls to me, like when I first
Yeah.
read that in the New 52.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I had moments of thinking about Invisible Man, just you know, some of that character, you know, with the hat and the dark eyes and, you know, the wrappings. It just, you know, I love how fun of a piece that is. And I like that not everything in this set feels the same. There's still a lot of variation in here. You obviously have a whole bucket of artists that we're using. You know, and I feel like every single one of them just pushes the other artist that much harder to make that, you know, amazing for this set.
Yeah, it's
I haven't seen a
sorry that you
single
said
where I've been like, not my favorite. Like they're all just bangers, top down, like
yeah.
every single one
And
that.
Well, that's
it,
been that's when I think we, you know, when we were able to kind of loosen the reins on the art is we sort of saw, you know, we talked a lot ahead of time about the ideas, but yeah, same approach of, you know, there may be somebody that just doesn't like the style of the tree on the left, but they're going to love Wellington style, or they might not like the hyper realistic and they want to a little bit more of the plague bearers here. So that's really what we want. Is I feel like when you create your art that way and you're really just letting these artists present their best versions of the art, your total amount of art that's loved by the average player goes up. So
yeah.
I
And
think that's it for everything with art. Before we jump into the question, the Q&As, was there any other specific mechanic? I know this is a little more for you, Felipe. Was there one mechanic that you're super excited about that we haven't talked about that we could spoil a little bit here? Is there one off the top of your head?
there is one. Can I share
Hey,
it?
let's look. You know, nothing's finalized yet, but let's chat about it. So,
I love the fact that Sassi, which is the second character that was unlocked through stretch goals, it was hilarious that when people like when I shared the artwork for it, the first thing that people thought was like, oh, he's like a djinn. And so Saci is actually part of Brazilian folklore. He's probably one of our most famous mythical creatures in Brazil, and he's a trickster. And when he was being developed as a player, I love that the nature of his cards is always to disrupt gameplay, to disrupt what's going on the table. And so the card I'm most excited that people are gonna go nuts for, and some people in the chat said, "Oh, this guy's a djinn, so he must have a negate." And he does not. So I'm super happy, thrilled that his negate is actually a negate in universe card. So it's not a negate a special card, but you'll be able to negate universe cards with him. And I feel that's very much like a CC thing to do. And I love it's a very unique personal card. So I'm excited about that one, Joe.
yeah, me too. I think there's a lot that's going to open up, especially with I can tell you, you know, I don't think this is a spoiler we haven't revealed, but we're obviously continuing to develop the amount of characters that
Yeah.
have advanced universe cards. Sometimes those cards are numerical, sometimes those cards are going to be more effects similar to what Rob
Mm-hmm.
brought. But that's definitely a type of card that we're going more into in the
Yep.
new set. If anybody picked up our demo decks from the Walking Dead Invincible demo decks we've been demoing at the cons, they've already started to see some of those. I believe those had Rick's 45 caliber,
Yep.
which is his pistol, which is one of his advanced universe cards.
Yep.
That's a 6 energy combat that can attack or defend Rick. So it's his really versatile pistol would be able to be negated by, I never say
Absolutely.
it, Sashi.
Sassy.
Sashi.
Yeah, we're bringing Brazilian culture into Overpower.
um, Well, I think we've taken a look at all the art. We've kind of been chatting for a while. We've got an eager audience here, so let's activate our AI robot for that we use for all of our online things, Mystique, and let's see. Ooh, we're showing some other cool art that we have here too. Sorry, let's talk about this, and then we're gonna pull. We'll get Mystique ready while we're chatting. So this seems very reminiscent on the left of the first graphic novel that I read, where they're like in a capsized boat dealing with
Yep.
this threat. So this seems like definitely kind of a throwback to that encounter.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the intention. And let me just real quick go back to the hanging tree card because that's gonna be an unique character special as well. And I'm super proud of the title of that card, which is hanging in there. I love it. And that one's gonna be the Finker's version for Robin Hood. So it's discard one special, draw four, because the idea is that if you hang yourself from this wicked three, you become not a zombie because you still retain like all your like brain functions and what have you, but you basically become immortal. You just like, sure, you become a monster version of yourself, but you are immortal. So that's like discard a special, hang yourself, draw four, becomes immortal. So that's hanging in there. And I love, look, that you enjoyed the piece for the Rattlers Elite because Bruno Oliveira, the artist behind that piece, he's a very graphic artist. He loves mixing up those You should see some of the stuff that he really pushed the envelope, and I had to reel him back in because he went full on Andy Warhol on some of his pieces.
I listen. You're getting me more excited about it. So can't wait. I can't wait.
I will say I think we've done a good job, even with the Invincible cards, is to say like, all right, well, we're not going to have a set that's completely PG-13. There's obviously like the two properties we're working with are Kirkman. We want to be true to his vision, and that's when there's violence, it's extremely intense. There's certainly less of it in Overpower than in the cartoon, but there's definitely going to be some cards in there that are either panels directly from the show or something where we've allowed there to be a little bit of blood on it. I would say no more than you saw in ERB with like the Dracula cards and stuff like that. But yeah, we're trying to walk that balance to give everybody what they want and make it pretty easy to avoid certain things if you're worried about it being family friendly. All right, let's activate Mystique and get a go here. Mystique, are you on audio yet? Give 1 second. We just have to enable her mic here. All right. Mystique, are you there?
Yep.
There we go. All right, Mystique, what you've got the three of us here. Let's go through some of those questions.
Yeah, so I scooped some really good questions. The first one is, does every Becker get the Redhead Metal artwork?
I'll let that one go to you, Felipe.
Sure. So if we hit 150K, yes. It's not the same metal from the ultra rares. So you actually, like, people that got the original Metro ultra rare sets, they're gonna have two different versions of a metal redhead character card. But yes, every backer will get one with the third original artwork for the redhead. Yep.
Also related to the Kickstarter, how do I add more bricks to my pledge?
I think we kind of went over that. So that was what we were showing where if I assume you're talking about the new bricks that just got put on there. So you're gonna go to the top of your page. There's a green button that says change your pledge. Is that what it says, Felipe?
Yeah.
So we'll go through it again here in the visual real quick, just in case you came on. So this manage your pledge button at the top here, you're gonna click on that. Now you're gonna go down here to where it says change your pledge.
Yep.
And then if you go over to continue, this is what you're currently pledging. Continue is going to bring you to the screen. If you notice up in the left, it says rewards, then add-ons. So continue brings you there to the add-ons. And then the bricks are going to be stretch goal extras brick. But this is what allows you to go do any of the extra stuff you want to do. If you've decided now a few weeks later, you know what, I really do want to get this play mat of this character, or I want an extra power card station. These are the places where you can continue to add to your pledges.
Yeah. And let me quickly just show, like, if you're doing it on your phone, if you open up the Kickstarter app, which is not, by the way, it's not really good, but if you open up the Kickstarter pledge, there's a little white button at the bottom. It says manage. You want to click there, and then on the next screen, there's gonna be 3 little dots at the top. Mine is still opening. 1 second. So yeah. So there's gonna be like right here, these 3 little dots. You want to click there. It opens up a menu, and then edit your pledge, and then you'll be able to either hit continue with your choice or pick any others, and then you'll be able to add on stuff on the next page.
All right. Let's keep it going. What else we got, Mystique?
So a lot of people joined later today, and some of the questions are related to other characters. And there's a question here: why is Invincible Man 16 points?
Why is Invincible what?
Why is Invisible Man 16 points?
Oh, so we're talking about the new one. Invisible Man, I think he didn't get a ton of play testing, and we just haven't seen him in a tournament yet. We don't see him at a lot of decks at people when they're playing weekly. And so that's just one where we feel like card for card, he should have been cheaper. You know, we just think that we think he should have been a 16 to start with. And so we're trying to just adjust that to give something a little interesting into the meta. See if that has him see play.
I would put him in the deck for sure in the tournament at 16 points. He sounds fun like that.
Now more on the metal cards.
Yes.
Okay.
People were really into it. Are metal cards something you'd like to add to future sets as well?
Metal cards. Look at that. Yeah. This is like a Thinkers collectible one. Doesn't have anything on the back, but the front is just gorgeous.
Very cool.
You know. So is that question for Joe or for me or
What was
Are metal cards something that we want to add to other future sets? I think that's more to Joe.
yeah, it's Joe.
Yeah, I think like we said, we definitely, hey, Ronald's up. Yeah, we definitely, those are some of the old prototypes.
So Jeremy Provost made these for us, and it was very good inspiration for looking at what the possibilities are. I would like to say that 100% we will have metal cards in the future, and we just lost Joe. Let's see what happened.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
There you go.
They were so good. My thing just shut off. So, yeah. Look, we obviously the metal cards were super popular. They're cool. I mean, that's really all we're doing here is we're trying to bring you the stuff that when you walk into your store, you're gonna go, wow, that's awesome. Like that's really fun. It makes the play experience better. It's just fun to collect. So that's really our main goal with everything is just to. Look, like we have the joy of being able to create games, which is something that creates camaraderie and community and happiness. And I know for all the rules debates and things that everybody gets worried about or worked up about, at the end of the day, we're in an incredibly stressful time in the world, and we're all coming together for this thing that we love. That's it's our chance to have fun and relax and make new friends and all that. So I really think that's what the goal is with everything we make. You know, is this something that is going to be fun? Is it something that's going to get people excited and make playing OverPower cooler? And the metal cards seem to do that. So I doubt they'll be in the packs anytime soon.
Yeah,
But
no.
don't be surprised if there's some kind of collector edition metal packs for Skybound or a future set.
Yeah, and we're almost up to 130K, by the way. I'm keeping an eye on the Kickstarter page.
There's a tab
Felipe-
open only on
yeah.
the Kickstarter.
Felipe has been sleeping, eating, and breathing this Kickstarter, guys. So we owe him a very big hand for applause for all the work he's put into this.
Thank you, Ron. It's a dream come true. Like you know what they say: if you love what you do, you're not working a day in your life. That's a bunch of BS, but sometimes
Yeah, I
it
was gonna
feels very true.
I love OverPower. I feel like I've worked pretty hard the last couple of years.
Yeah. Let's just say I'm looking forward to my honeymoon next week.
Congratulations, by the way. for
Felipe
those
is
who don't
getting
know.
married next week. So
I'm
big
Sunday,
congratulations to
yeah.
that.
Thank you.
In fact,
yeah,
if it wasn't for your future wife, I don't think your involvement would have been this heavy into OverPower. And she's been very, very supportive in all of this. So, if anything, the Brazilian community needs to thank your future wife.
Absolutely. She was key in this is actually it's really quick story. So Doug Sims invited me over for Champ of Champs. And I didn't know Doug at the time. He literally sent me a DM on Facebook, and I checked my phone and I was like, I turned to Camila and I was like, hey, so there's this guy inviting me over to Columbus, and I laughed, and she's like, why are you laughing? I was like, what am I gonna do in Columbus? She's like, well, you're gonna go there and play Overpower. Isn't that something you used to do like as a kid? Don't you love it? I was like, yeah, but it's like such a long trip for a card game. And she's like, it's not just a card game. This guy invited you over because you guys did the 7 combat promo for the original Overpower. And she was like, you're going. And I was like, I'm not going to go. Like, I have a lot of work. She's like, no, no, no. You're going to go. You're going to have fun. And you're just going to enjoy yourself because this is an amazing opportunity.
That's awesome.
And I got my ticket. So
That's great.
thanks, Camila. Like everyone, give Camila a round of applause.
Felipe, I hope you were super romantic and proposed to her using an Overpower card special.
Is the ring made out of Overpower cards? Like origami Overpower?
It should, right? I think I'm gonna change the rings in the next couple of days before Sunday. It should say Overpower.
Okay, what's the next question, Letty?
Okay, so do we still expect to deliver the Fuel and Curse before Skybound, assuming Skybound still releases in August?
Yeah, our intention is to get this out. Look, in perfect world, again, don't quote us. Obviously, we had some issues with our 3PL for the last fulfillment. I don't believe that's going to happen. We're not using the same one. So we would like to fulfill everything before the regional starts. So
The second regional.
The second regional.
Second regional.
You got it. Like we're doing over 150 pieces of art. we need a little bit of extra time.
Yeah.
A lot of thank yous for Camila here on the chat. So
very nice.
let's print screen this for her. So next question. Will there be home bases with characters to make themed teams?
That's not something that we really have on the radar anytime soon. We've talked about if we get into comic book universes that are very team heavy again. Obviously, like DC and Marvel are both universes that have a lot of teams. We may get back to something like that. I think probably the thing we've talked about, that this is very like theoretical. Nothing on this is decided. That we might go to something where character cards have team affiliation icons, something like that. That's I think if we were going to do something like that, a direction we'd go. That way your home base could say something like, if they have the Avengers icon on their card, they get this, they can be used with this home base. That way we're not 6 characters was completely arbitrary. It was just literally like it was what they could fit on the card. There was no reason for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Some home bases didn't even have characters in the sets.
Yeah, like the so look, we want themed sets eventually, like that's definitely something we want to do. We did try to create that more with the specials in ERB. So where it's like you can't necessarily put I think somebody in the chat mentioned this. Like, you can't do really Merlin, King Arthur, Lancelot, Morgan Le Fay. Like, the cost is too high.
That's
But
what
you can
it's
certainly you can draft them always. But the you can do multiple of those characters have cards that are improved with each other. And we've talked about this. That's going to be a big thing with the Walking Dead characters. Most of their strength comes from them working together with different communities and different teams. And you're going to notice that mechanic, that's kind of their shtick where, where other sets in Overpower history would just create a mechanic. Mission Control had events. Classic had JWs. That was, or like fives can't be defended by a special. Those were mechanics that were sort of set specific when they started. We're more doing those kind of themes where it makes sense. Walking Dead is going to be really thematic teams because those groups of people aren't really like, you're not necessarily going to recruit Rick Grimes to go join the Avengers, but he's pretty deadly when he's got the Alexandria crew and Michonne with him. As you saw in the starter deck. So you'll see a lot more of that. Negan is a strong character, but if you pair him with the Sanctuary, which is all his troops from there, he's got some pretty incredible synergies. So to go back to the 6 character things, I can pretty safely say, just sort of like when everyone asks us if we would ever do battle sites, I think you guys are going to love the way the Battlegrounds works that we're introducing, where it's suites of any character cards. It's kind of the best of both worlds. We'll do the same thing with the home bases. When we decide to put out, look, if a team like the X-Men comes out or the Justice League, there's going to be a way to use those characters as a team, and it's going to be cool. Like, that's the best thing we'll say. We'll figure out a great way to do it. So.
All right, so let's move on. I see some people are having follow-up questions on Invisible Men. And there's a question here. Will all characters being brought over from ERB as variants have the same stats and points, or will they be different? Will we have erratas for it?
The only one we've talked about being different was the Invisible Man. Everything else so far is the same. So it's just art variant on everything else.
Nice. And this one is for Felipe. Someone asked, does that Brazilian folklore gin have a card? I think they mean Saci, right?
Yeah.
Saci Perere.
Yeah.
And he wanted to know more about that character.
All right. I love that you guys programmed your AI to sound Brazilian. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Regional dialects.
See, she got the pronunciation of Saci perfect. Yeah, so Saci is a really fun design. I don't think we're gonna go too much into it. I think Joe has snipers around here. But he's a fun design. The idea around his mechanics is he's a trickster, and he creates chaos not by physically directly interacting with his victims of sorts. He tricks them some way, so he's always disrupting the villages that he haunts, the people around him, and we try to bring that into the game. So we don't, like, we're not doing like specific hand-to-hand combat, for instance, with Saci. The idea behind his design is he will disrupt the table and the overpower battle that you guys are gonna go in. I think that's good enough, right, Joe? Like,
yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
Trickster.
Yeah, he's gonna trick.
Exactly.
Like, if you play Saci, he's got some fun cards that the opponent is gonna be like, oh, because he's a trickster. So hopefully he's gonna be fun to play with and against.
Anything else, Mystique?
Yeah. Ooh, 1 second. Here we go.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
She's here.
Sorry, guys. I was muted. What lessons did you learn from this Kickstarter compared to the ERB set?
Well, I think we touched on that a little bit. Definitely the kind of the brick by brick approach, saying like, okay, if we get to this point, let's design a few more stretch goals. If we get to this point, I think some of the people in the community made a comment of like, if we'd understood the foil stacks better, we probably as a community would have like pushed to boost the Kickstarter more. So I think just making it really clear, like, guys, we just need a little bit more and you're going to get this, a little bit more and you're going to get this. I think we could have done better at being active with it as it was going on. I think we did a little more of tried to get it all done ahead of time and then set it and forget it. And we obviously saw a huge boost early, and then it was pretty lackluster in the second half. So that's probably the biggest one. And then obviously just how important a 3PL is, third-party logistics company is for delivering the stuff. So
yeah. The other thing too is that this campaign is a little bit different from the ERB or a full core set, and the interactions with the community and seeing what they gravitate towards from a product development or product, let's say, allocation perspective has been very, very interesting. And these are all lessons that we're going to bring to the next offerings that we have. And of course, it's going to be such a great and exciting time to then build upon everything that we're doing with Felipe, with other IPs we bring in, other stories, other possibilities. And it's been a lot of fun and a lot of work.
I love to add something to this. It was such a great question because I think this is my Kickstarter campaign number 35. So I've done a handful of these. And even though I say that every new campaign brings something new to the table, this one brought a lot of new to my, like, new weapons to my arsenal, if you like. A lot of new tools in the toolbox because I don't think I've ever launched a Kickstarter so close to community feedback. Like usually the feedback for the Thinkers campaigns, they're within the Thinkers Kickstarter itself, that environment. So people, they share comments and what have you, but it's not like they're monitoring the campaign to share their thoughts. And between Facebook and Discord, I feel like this was more collaborative than ever, and it really guided us as we like navigated the campaign itself. And really some cool stuff happened that usually does not happen. One of them was the big bump with the metal ultra rares. That was a huge bump. If you take our graph, it's not your ordinary Kickstarter campaign graph. We had two huge bumps. One was the retailers and then the metro ultra rares. So that tells me that those limited kind products, if done better, if done more correctly, if you will, they can be real game changers. So there was definitely lessons learned there as well.
But it's also a double-edged sword. Like there's a lot of things that we always struggle with where we're trying to figure out what can we give to the community that it's collectible and limited edition, which, let's also be honest, sometimes it does feel like you win with your wallet. But at the same time, what can we give to the community that allows for unlimited access to anybody that's joining, unlimited access to anybody that's going to be playing. One of our big things also for this campaign is that it is legal for tournaments, but we still want to make this set accessible post Kickstarter in some capacity so that people that are joining us Skybound, Top Count, and future sets are still going to be able to jump in here and be able to pick apart these product lines with the characters, with the different combinations of how they'll impact the future metas and future regionals. And these are all things that we're learning. And I'll say credit to Luke, credit to Joe, credit to Dave and Keith and everybody that we're always trying to figure out how to best approach these problems and be flexible, because we're not a massive conglomerate. We're not trying to just make bean counter decisions that are like, well, this is 50 cents and blah, blah, blah. No, we're always trying to say, yeah, it'd be really cool if we could do this and this. How can we make it happen? And we're always trying to really make that a possibility. Sometimes we can and sometimes we can't. So that's just the beginnings of something at Allergy and Overpower, I'll say.
Beautifully said.
And then I think, do we have any more questions, Mystique?
We do have a few now that we're getting close to the time, so let's choose just 2 more.
We have a few.
Let's do two more.
Let's do that. 2 more, guys. Okay, so people really want to know about other negates for the few and cursed. They are harassing us in the chat for spoilers.
What's the obsession with negates, guys?
I don't want to be the rain on the parade here, but I believe that's the only kind of full negate in the set.
Oh, yeah.
There's other things similar to what we've done, but you're gonna have to wait for the stuff to come out of that. So,
but it's funny that the people are obsessed with that one particular type of card. It's like, what about negates?
well, I think it's negates are clearly one of the most powerful pieces of defense in the game. And we didn't include a ton of them in the first set, but it's very similar to the way the original launch was. Like, Beast is the only person that had a negate in the first set, if I remember right. And then you got Scarlet Witch in the second set. Did Mojo get his? He didn't get his negate until IQ, though, right?
No. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Mojo got his in the IQ fourth set.
Yeah. So I think in the second set, you really only had the 2 negators. Mission Control didn't bring a negator, so it was really just 2 to start off with, and they were max 6. You had that for a while. We're definitely going to have characters with negates, but the difference is, we've talked about this to death, but the characters, if you have a full negate, it's going to increase your threat value. It just it is not a card that's going to be on a 17-point max 7 or max 8 character. That's just not going to happen. It's if they have that card, their threat's going to be probably close to 20 or 21, just by virtue of that card alone. It's that good of a card. So I can tell you that the full negator in Skybound is a 21 pointer. I think there's somebody that's a little cheaper in Top Cow that's a full negator, but is a max 6. So so you're gonna continue to see more negates, but also remember, guys, like the big thing here is each one of these sets is going to continue to fill out the environment, and we're looking at a 5 to 10 year plan. We're not trying to get the game state back to where it was when the game ended, where it was like a defensive shell. And I think the average player, if you play the old game, it's hard to even play a remainder of game card like early feminist leader. You can't really build around an effect like that because there's so many negates. It's just not ever going to stay on the board. And that's kind of where we don't want the game to end up again. So, if negating is something you want to do, you need to be making the choice that that's a big part of your deck. It's not just like, well, I'm always going to have a negator because they're 16 points and I can throw Mole Man in, Yeah.
Some people love their negates.
We also don't hate negates. We just want them represented properly so we can balance the game.
They should be judiciously dished out. You just can't have an entire set of negates.
And I gotta say, I love how ERB did like alternatives to a full negate and gave them to some really cool characters. So there's a lot of leeway and creativity and originality to like, okay, I want a sort of negator, but Merlin is too expensive. What can I do? So I loved how you guys figured that out. That was a job well done.
What else we got, Mystique?
Guys, I think we're gonna make it. We're not gonna do a 2-hour stream. Now let's finish it off with the fun question. I know you said you're working on different types of foils in future sets. Are you also planning on alternate layouts, such as a full art card?
Like with no numbers or anything?
Yep.
Ronald's got the little samples of all the foils we're looking at. Yeah.
Joel's question was, how can we get as many of them in there, and how can we do effects on them?
Yeah, there's a lot of cool ones we're looking at. Sorry, what was it? What was the second half of the question again, Letty? I got distracted by the shiny thing.
So he was saying that he knows we're working on different types of foils for future sets, but are we planning different layouts for the cards that don't exist yet?
We haven't really thought much about like obviously the Skybound set was going to be the first launch of the new permanent border, which is the yellow and blue. Now the Few and the Cursed is going to launch that, but that kind of takes us back into what Overpower originally had, which was the yellow borders. So that is kind of a new layout. I think you've been seeing it enough now that the audience is used to it. But remember, that is the black border is actually going to end up being the rare collectible border, where we tend to keep our plan for at least the foreseeable future is to keep that yellow blue layout and change around. Like you've noticed, the crows are at the bottom of the Few and the Cursed cards. We're toying around with Darklings being at the bottom of the Skybound card, or the Top Cow cards. Skybound has a little bit of the blood splatter, like very invincible. So there'll be things like that we do to play around with the flavor of it. But no, I think honestly, this is my personal opinion, I think there was a lot of stuff that was done differently randomly that I think we want to keep it a little more in line. Like an example is the hollow heroes being portrait instead of landscape. That was always irritating to me. Like I
There
didn't
was that to me too. Yeah.
I didn't really like it.
Infuriates me.
So I think so. While there are fun things we might do, I think there's certain things that I wouldn't expect to see. But like, there are things like eventually there are other games that if a card appears enough times and everyone knows what it does, they just do the full art. Like there's cards in Magic the Gathering. I'm pretty sure there's been lightning bolts that just say lightning bolt and show a bolt and there's no other text because everybody knows it's 1 red mana, 3 damage. We might get to that point. We might have in any character card that if it's called Prenatural Healing multiple times, maybe that just ends up getting a piece of art if everybody in 10 years knows exactly what it does. So I would say long term, maybe. Short term, probably not.
I can just add a little flavor to that conversation. There are always things that we're trying to do with the cards within those boundaries as well. Like, not to spoil anything, but like, I can't wait for people to see the different multi-power cards next to each other. It'll be something that if you're a fan of the series, the IPs that are in the set, like you're gonna see that and go, oh my god, that's so cool. Like that was one of the funnest things I had working on that set, was just like, how can we bring things to this art that feels like I'm in the middle of this comic book while I'm playing this game? It's really there to just like try and bring you into that world of what it felt like even reading those comics at the same time. So there's always room for us to do interesting things with the art without necessarily having it to be a foil or a metal or have it be vertical and really mess up our learn to play mats. We want this game to be interesting visually as well. So it's not just about the next shiny thing. It's also like, wow, what a really fun throwback to the actual art that inspired this set of cards that we're playing with now. So
and Luke's referring specifically to the multi-powers in the Skybound set.
One of the things that I just wanted to add to the conversation. He's
spoiling the point of purchase uncut sheet. That's for the starter decks.
This is all busted up, guys. It's not worth anything.
I wanted to throw a challenge to Luke in the long term, Luke. So one of our Brazilian community members here, he came up very crudely, but the idea is there of the special cards being full art means that they still have the writing on them, like so the character name and the text at the bottom of the icons. But you can actually see through the borders somehow, and that's why he calls a full art. So that's the challenge for the next 10 years. Like the card can be full art, but You know, it doesn't necessarily need to be something we need to have memorized. But I have no clue how to get that done. But
Well, if you look closely at the existing cards,
Luke will
it's a
figure
little
it out.
harder to it's a little hard to see on the black borders, but you actually can see the art through the border.
yeah,
And
no,
I
no,
think
yeah,
on I think on the yellow cards it's a little more apparent because there it's a lighter color. So
yeah. Yeah. Challenge extended.
Accepted.
right, Letty, what else do we got? Any other ones?
We're all good, guys.
Woo-hoo.
All right, everybody.
My Skybound cards right here.
Oh,
Just the demo
Flash
decks.
that up.
So just again, big thank you to everyone. This has been a super positive process. I know with the delay to August, you guys have been an incredible community. I know we're all antsy and we can't wait to get those new cards. I would just say, guys, everybody take a deep breath and just enjoy this moment while you can, because you're going to be going into a new era where we're going to have a new set out every 4 to 6 months. So having a year and a half to really develop the meta and get into stuff, you're going to have to be developing that meta a lot faster, because it's, you know, I mean, what you just had 41 character and 2 variants over a year and a half, you're going to have 36 new characters with a lot of impact, and come early next year, Top Cow's going to drop, and there's going to be, for the first time since the late 90s, deck building, deck innovation, and deducing what the opponent across from you is doing when you see 4 random characters that your group's never put together. That's going to come back to being a big part of the game. And I think compared to other CCGs, we've seen a lot more of that with all the new players that have come in and how good people have gotten so fast. We have started to see it, but we're going to see it on a whole new level. Being able to look at a holistic body of cards and figure out what combos are going to be the best, that skill, the value of that skill is going to be increasing as we put more characters out more quickly. So,
and keep that in mind, 10 characters with the Few and the Cursed, 36 with Skybound, 43 with ERB. You're going to have 89 characters to play with.
yeah, putting 10 new
year.
characters in the meta, as much as this is a small double deck thing, like this is putting in almost 25% of the characters that were in ERB. So think about it that way. It's going to be a big shake up to the meta. So
yeah.
And by the way, guys, we're less than $150 from 130K. So please, someone add 5 bricks to their orders, or at least 5 people add 1 extra bricks, so I can go sleep with 130K. Come on. It's 5 bricks, guys. 5 bricks.
The other thing I wanted to touch on before we fully sign off and say goodbye. So we are, behind the scenes. I know sometimes it feels like you guys aren't hearing as much because we're working so hard on getting everything ready to launch. We really are days away from starting. We've got a full commercial we're going to be launching. We've got a series of character spotlight videos that are, some of them are already complete. They're being scheduled. We have a new vice president of marketing that's designing this strategy. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on, from them finalizing the ambassador program, the judge program, all of this advertising. It's going to be a big bombardment far outside of what the community's been so far. It's our outreach to really get more players in. We've done very good with the stores and the distributors, and now we're starting to penetrate that. People keep asking what they can do. Obviously, being ready to be ambassadors and get a store in your area up and running and help build a community is huge. But honestly, the biggest thing you guys can do to help us is everything is algorithms now. So when you're seeing all these things we're reposting and ads, just share every one of them. Just click the share button, click the like button. That's the biggest thing you're going to be able to do, because if, right now, if we have all of us doing it and there's 20 or 30 shares, that only goes so far. But if we're getting up to 400 or 500 every post, that exponentially increases the algorithm. It's a snowball effect. So the biggest call to action I can say for the community is every single time you see anything OverPower, just like it and hit that share button. That's the biggest thing you can do to help us out.
Yeah. And join the Discord. Be a positive force.
Absolutely.
Be a part of the community. Yeah.
All right, everybody. It is 8:38. We are under the 2-hour mark. Thank you very much. And as always, we'll be jumping in and off the Discord. So any more questions, feel free to jump on there and we'll answer them as best we can.
Ciao,
Thanks,
ciao.
everybody.
Thank you so much, guys.